And I said, oh yeah, but this kid's going to grow up and become a tech billionaire, right? The nerds end up running the world. And at least that's the way things are now. And well, how do they do that? Well, because they understand technology. So if you backtrack and you look at people like the Mark Zuckerbergs and the Elon Musks and how they got to be so wealthy and powerful, a lot of their wealth and power came from the fact that they understand technology. Like they're not sitting around, sort of thinking, okay, if I work really, really hard, I'm going to make a lot of money. They're working hard, yes, but they're working hard with systems and technology that scales their systems. It's what they call scalability. That's why Mark Zuckerberg can make, as much as $10 million an hour while still being at home in his bed asleep, because he thinks in a systematic way. He uses technology. A lot of us, when we have, but then here's the other thing too. When you have technology and an understanding technology, or let's say your kid's a great engineer or something like that, a lot of us constrain the child's income because we train them to go get a job. So if there's an Elon Musk in your family who's really good with engineering, a lot of us won't even consider the idea that this kid could go off and start another Tesla or start a Facebook or whatever, right? So the E in sturdy, STERDY, the E stands for entrepreneurship. So if somebody understands systems and technology and they're also entrepreneurial, then that's when they have that opportunity to make a lot of money. And I was explaining to our oldest, I said, if you're entrepreneurial and you know systems and technology, if you sit around with your friends, your best friends, and you're just brainstorming on ideas and working on various ways to add value to the economy, you'll probably stumble across something that's going to make you $100,000 a month or some ungodly amount of money, $250,000 a month. And so entrepreneurial thinking is critically important, not just because it can scale up your child's income when they become an adult, but also it's important because we need entrepreneurs in the Black community. One thing I would say is I've compared our thinking to that of the difference between a babysitter and a parent. So a lot of times when we are when we're economic babysitters, we think that we have the same rights as the parent. Right? We'll say, I've worked for this company for 20 years. I am an executive at this company. I have the same rights as everybody else. No, you don't. That's not your company. You didn't do the hard work required. You didn't take the risk required to build that institution from the ground up. So sturdy, STERDY. The first three letters are systems, technology, entrepreneurship. Write this down, and then I'm going to say it this last time. So systems, technology, entrepreneurship, relationships, and delegation. And the Y stands for youth. Okay, so that's the last time I'll say it. So if anybody doesn't remember what it is, just ask people in the chat and they'll give it to you. So the entrepreneurial part is not just critical if you want to make money at a high level. It's also critical for a community that doesn't have the amount of power that we'd like to have. Like we get very upset about the stressors of getting up and going to work every day, or our voice isn't heard, or they're racist at my job and all that. And I get all that, but the thing is that you're always going to have that problem if you don't build institutions. And so what you need with your children, in my opinion, is you need about 1 million kids in this generation that are sturdy children, STERDY, that understand systems, technology, entrepreneurship, and then on top of that, they've got other skills to build institutions like relationship management. So I told our oldest, I said, form healthy relationships with smart people, and then you'll sit around and you'll have hackathons and you'll program on your computers, you'll brainstorm on ideas, you'll run across that multi-million-dollar idea, you'll work on it together, and you'll create something amazing. And then what you have to do then is you have to maintain that relationship. So the R in sturdy stands for relationships. The ability to build the right relationships and maintain them is one of the most important skill sets that a person can have if they want to make money at a high level. Wealthy people make money due to their relationships and their ability to maintain and protect those relationships. If you're a person that destroys relationships, then it's going to be hard to survive financially, even on a small scale. Even things like broken families and broken marriages destroys you financially. So every relationship you have that's productive for you, and they should be, most of them should be. And if they're not productive, then maybe that's a reflection you have to have. But these relationships have to be protected because that protects your economics. And then the D stands for delegation. A lot of us are trained to work really, really hard, and we're trained to do it all by ourselves. And the problem with working hard and doing it all by yourself is that you get tired, you get worn out. you get to the point where you don't want to work anymore and it just drains you, right? So if you want to really be productive and really get stuff done at a high level, learn delegation. And delegation links to relationships, because in order for me to delegate to like I have a team, I can't do my job without my team. So in order for me to have my team, to delegate to my team, which makes the work easier for me, I have to maintain healthy relationships with these people. And we also have to have systems that allow us to delegate in an efficient way, right? So when we talk to each other, I say, okay, so here's the system. Here's what your job is. Here's what your job is. So anybody who, for example, if you play basketball or football, you'll know most basketball football teams are a group of people where they delegate the responsibilities. No one person plays every position. And then they also have a system that they run. That's their offense. That's their defense. That's how they score points. So ultimately, building those sturdy children is what's going to make a difference. So if your kid memorizes the POISE acronym, and then they memorize the STURDY acronym, and they master the skills related to each of those letters, that kid's probably going to be a millionaire. It's going to be very easy for that child to be a millionaire. And then at that point, all you have to do is invest for them. If you go to blackwealthmasterplan.com, just invest for them consistently so they have some assets to deploy. Because what happens is that for some of us, our ideas become bigger than our bank accounts. So we have these great ideas, these great possibilities, these great opportunities, but they're underfunded. We don't have the ability to go get that $5,000 to let us quit our job and start that business. So you end up serving the corporate plantation for the rest of your life because you can't get $5,000 to get your business off the ground, or you don't have enough money to survive more than 2 months without a paycheck. So you doing the $5, $10 a day plan put your child in a position where they can operate at a higher level. They can think at a higher frequency. They can vibrate on level 3 instead of having to live in level 1 and deal with level 1 problems. When Donald Trump was 25 years old, his father gave him, I think, about $25 million and said, okay, son, here you go, take over the world. And by 28 years old, Donald Trump bought a $400 million hotel. He wasn't thinking about, how am I going to pay my student loans? He wasn't thinking, how am I going to get a better job? He wasn't thinking, how am I going to find a way to pay the rent? No, he was buying a $400 million hotel. So he got right to the business of doing his purpose, whatever his purpose happened to be. So what I really need you to do is, if you have kids or grandkids, or unborn kids, even your kids that are not born yet, like, you start investing for them as early as you can. I don't care if you're 12. I don't care if you're in here and you're 14 years old. If you start investing now, you're benefiting your unborn children. One day you're going to be an adult very, very soon, and you're going to have kids. And the more time that money has to grow, the better off your child will be. In fact, there's some easy investing math that you should apply. Like, if you invest just $300 a month for 8 straight years, and you do that from the age of 22, then by the time you're 65, you'll be either a millionaire or very, very close. You'll have like $1.8 million or something, even if you stop investing after 8 years. But if you do that consistently, it's very, very easy for you to have extreme, massive amounts of wealth. And so you have to do something consistently, right? So when I give you these models, Sturdy and Poise, these models are best applied when your kid has a little bit of wealth to play with. So if they got these high level ideas, like, okay, I want to be the CEO of a corporation, I want to run my own institution because I want to benefit my community and hire my friends, they're going to need some capital to do that. That's the third part of your job. That's where you come in and you're helping your teammate get the ball down the court. Okay. You don't just throw them out there with nothing to work with, because then what happens is all this brilliance, all this intelligence will go into the trash heap, like all the other talent that exists in our community, where we end up taking our brilliance and giving it to other people, or selling it to the highest bidder because we don't have the capital to finance ourselves. Right. Like, for example, I'm not a stupid guy. I know a lot of stuff. There's a lot of value I feel like I can add to the world. That's why I do what I do every day. Well, if I was stuck financially and didn't have the ability to pay the rent or the mortgage in the house, then I couldn't be sitting here talking to you and doing what we're doing every day. I'd have to go. I'd say, well, guys, hey, I'd love to talk to you, but I got to go to work. Right. So a lot of us are not able to do the things we want to do for our families and for our communities because we got to go to work. So I want your kid to not have to go to work. That's it. That's the biggest, best gift you can ever give them, is the gift of freedom. Freedom is not, in my opinion, going to come from a politician. Freedom's not going to come from a corporation. Freedom is not going to come from anybody other than you. And because you love that kid, you love that grandchild, give them that gift of freedom. Go to, again, blackwealthmasterplan.com. I show you exactly what to do. It takes 5 minutes to implement. It's very easy. All you got to do is set it and forget it, and don't pick at it. Don't touch it. Don't mess it up. Just keep investing consistently every single week at the amount that we tell you, and then let that money grow. After about 8 to 10 years, you'll start to notice the growth. But really, it's about the 15, 20-year mark where it really becomes a massive amount of money. At that point, you're rich. At that point, problem solved. All these complications where everyone says, well, it's really hard for Black people to build wealth, and Black wealth is going down because of this and because of that. Those problems are easily solvable, but they're going to have to be solved by you. They're not going to be solved by dysfunctional politicians. They're not going to be solved by these other people. You have to do that yourself. Okay. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and shut us down for today. We've done 37 minutes. And so tomorrow we're going to jump back in. Again, the Reflective Journal, if you don't have a copy, it's at drboycebooks.com, and you can just search for the words 30 Days to Wealth and Power, and you can get that. We're on day 3. So I want you to fill out that journal. In fact, take a few minutes after we hang up here and just fill out that journal, think it through, kind of meditate on it. Sort of think about your childhood, how you formed your views of money, and then sort of ask yourself, okay, what are some things I might want to adjust? What are some changes I can make? And even if you don't make a major change right away, just being aware and having that consciousness, like thinking about things that happened as a kid that led you to form your view of money, can go a long way. Like even the fact that that some people want to date people that have more money, or Jeffrey Epstein. The Epstein thing being revealed is interesting because when Jeffrey Epstein was alive, everybody wanted to be his friend. Why did everybody want to be his friend? Because he had money. That's it. They knew nothing about this man. This man was doing predatory stuff with children and everything else. But a lot of you could have got sucked into that same trap. A lot of us could. Right? Think about this. You get invited to a private island owned by a billionaire. Who wouldn't go? Right. And so now, a lot of people's names are on this Epstein list. And I feel bad for some of them, because I really believe some of them literally were just like, oh, a Bill Clinton's billionaire friend invited me to a private island. I'm going to go visit. I don't think everybody that went there was out there trying to get into some dirt. They were just happy to be invited to a private island from a billionaire. Or Diddy. I remember Diddy. See, the thing is, I've always been like kind of a little bit internet famous, right? Not like a real celebrity, but I've gone places and been recognized in a lot of places and stuff. And I remember when Diddy had his white party, and I knew people that were going to his white party. And somebody was like, do you want to go to the white party? And I was like, yeah, I think that'd be cool. Like, I didn't know. I wasn't going there looking to, get into whatever Diddy's into, or even today, I just saw a headline where T.I. and Tiny are getting sued for something crazy that happened with a woman in a hotel. And I met T.I. and Tiny in Ghana, and I was happy to meet them. I was like, you're my favorite rapper. I think you're really talented. But so somebody says, you were with T.I. in Ghana, so that means you were involved with what T.I. is involved with. I'd be like, no, I don't do that. I don't know anything about what they do, in their private life. So ultimately, it's funny. Money shapes so much in terms of how much people trust each other. Like money is kind of a trickster to some extent, because a lot of people will trust a person with money, and that person may be up to no good. Like a lot of women might go date a guy, and there's the whole has anybody seen that Netflix documentary called The Tinder Swindler? The guy that went on Tinder, and he was picking up women by pretending to be this like millionaire son of a king or something. Or son of a baron or whatever. And he had the whole routine down. He had the private jet, and I mean every single thing that you would have done to try to vet him and make sure he was legit. He had all that covered. He was good. Like he would take him out. He would fly him to Switzerland and take him to some expensive restaurant. And so there was no reason to believe this man was making all this up, but it turned out it was a big facade. It was kind of like a relationship Ponzi scheme, where he used money from the women he'd swindled before to basically trick the new women, right? So he literally would spend, $10,000 flying you across to wherever. But it was money he took from somebody else, right? And then eventually he would get around to taking your money too. It was really fascinating. So ultimately, money shapes our thinking in so many ways, and our thinking shapes our money, right? So being in tune with that and sort of figuring that out can kind of help you in terms of getting where you want to get to. All right. So again, if you want to get a copy of the journal, if you don't have it yet, just go to drboycebooks.com. At the top, search for the words 30 days to wealth and power, and you can find it there. Also, if you want to get all these trainings that we're doing 30 straight days of financial consciousness training. We're on day 3. If you want to get all 30 days and have access to it for life, you can share it with your whole family, whatever you want to do. You can go to drboyceelevate.com. That's drboyceelevate.com. That way, if you miss a day or whatever, you can have the archives for life. And so anyway, have a good day, everybody. I will see you all in the morning, tomorrow morning, 10